What's good, peeps? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Don't forget as well, please to like and share the vids. Thanks to everyone that's doing that. You can also support the channel as well. I do have a Patreon account. The link is in the description. All right, let's continue our What Next series. And let's this time focus on Conor Benn, the unbeaten Conor Benn. I do think I'm a bit harsh on him. I've watched a few of my Conor Benn videos back and I do critique him quite a lot. I don't know if it's because his dad's my favorite fighter, if it's because of the route they're taking. I do like the idea of a prospect going through, I think, the correct route. So area title, English, British, European. Obviously, he's got one of these WBO European belts, which I don't exactly like. I don't know what it is, but the fact remains, he is unbeaten. You can only beat what's put in front of you. He's not a matchmaker. He doesn't pick these guys. There's hardly any amateur background. So what is he supposed to do, right? He is exciting. He can punch. He does come to fight. He's very open and honest about his flaws and wanting to improve. So I do think we do need to get behind him. I feel like that surname Ben is almost a gift and a curse. It's a gift in a sense that it opens up doors. I think he got a Reebok sponsorship deal very early on some big shows very early. But at the same time, it does put extra pressure and eyes on you. And people expect you to deliver very, very quick. Let's have a look at 2019. I thought 2019 was actually a decent year for him. I think they stepped it up in terms of opposition. He had a couple of tough fights that he came through very impressively, right? Is that a word, impressively? I think it is. Very impressively. And I do think people are expecting good things or big things, or maybe things stepped up another level in 2020. I read an article by Johnny Nelson. He called it a make or break year for Conor Benn. It's a bit harsh. I kind of understand what he means. I think it's a case of we need to know where he is in 2020 and what kind of fighter he's going to turn out to be. Is he going to be a British level fighter, which is fair enough, right? Not everyone can get to the European stage. Is he going to be a European level fighter? At the back end of 2020, are we going to realize that this guy could go on and fight at maybe fringe world level? I do think 2020 is going to answer a lot of questions for Conor Benn. There has been some rumor, I don't know if this was bullshit or not, about him possibly going down to 140 pounds. I don't see how he makes it, if I'm honest with you. He looks quite dry and lean on the scales at 147. So I don't see how he makes 140. I don't know if they've ever tried to maybe do a weight cut to 140 or 143 and see how he felt. But I do think 147 is the weight for him. I think his power is real, right? If he hits you, you are in trouble. So I do think his power is good at 147. I think he looks strong and big at 147. So I do think that will be a mistake going down to 140. But what they have said is that they will maybe try and go down that traditional route, so British, European. I don't know how far they're going to go back. I don't know if they go to English level. But the problem for Ben is that the welterweight division, although not blessed with a lot of talent, right? It's not, let's be honest, in this country. There's about 10 guys that are also sort of match very well against each other, if that makes any sense. So it's not stacked in terms of talent, but it's stacked in terms of guys that are evenly matched. And I don't know where Ben is in that. There's been a lot of talk about Ben versus Josh Kelly, as though that's number one versus number two, and it really isn't. It isn't. I think, although people have questioned Josh Kelly, I still would have Josh Kelly above most of the guys. And when I say most, I'm not obviously talking about Amir Khan or Brook. I'm talking about most of the other guys. There's guys out there like, what's his name, the English champion? I think it's Iko Awusuman. Oh, is Ben better than him? We don't know. Then obviously the British champion, Chris Jenkins. Then you've got guys out there like Michael Mickinson, unbeaten. Guys like Tyron Nurse, veterans like him, veterans like Larry Akandayo. Can he beat all these guys? I don't know. I don't know. I think the next step for him is the British title, Chris Jenkins. That should be the first aim. Let's see if he can beat Chris Jenkins. If he can, then we at least know he's British level, and then he can either defend that belt to try and keep it outright a couple of times, or he can move on to European level, which is probably where Josh Kelly is. And then we know. But again, a lot of questions will be answered about Conor Benn in 2020. And again, echoing the words of Johnny Nelson, it might be make or break in terms of where he thinks he is and where he's actually going to be. He probably thinks he is above all these guys. I'm not quite sure he is. If he can beat a Chris Jenkins, then maybe he is above them. But that's not going to be an easy fight. It's not going to be an easy task. There are a lot of guys that we might not hear about because they're not signed to Matchroom or to Frank that are good welterweights that are just not getting the limelight Conor Benn is, that want that Conor Benn fight. So Conor Benn is definitely the hunted right now. And I get that he wants a Josh Kelly fight. I get it. It's a great fight, right? Between two guys that, or at least one guy that can punch and one guy that can box. So classic boxer versus puncher. But again, there are a number of welterweights that don't have the big name that I think can beat him right now. And it's up to him to prove that he's above those guys. And it's up to him to say, you know what, I deserve the Josh Kelly fight because I am above British level. It waits to be seen in 2020. Peace.